All right, so today we're here with two phenomenal telekinetic experts and practitioners, Antonio Telekinesis Wood, Journal of a Jedi, and the Matrix Unveiled, Tanuj Sudan. So, starting with Tanuj, if you can go back in time, would you have trained telekinesis differently?
Um, I think that my training was actually pretty good because from a young age, like I started off with more of the telekinesis, the indoor stuff, and I got pretty good at that to the point where I could knock over books and move some heavy objects. But then once I found out that I could work with the weather, I left all of that stuff behind because I realized that's way more fun and way more harmonious with the system. And so it became more about connecting to the actual system and to working with the weather, building rain, building lightning, building winds, building solar energy and like sunsets and stuff, and just like working with that instead of just moving like a book or a piece of foil or something like that. But it's a progression. So I think everybody is going to have their own method for training, really.
Okay, okay. So, would you say, Tanuj, like if you could go back in time, you would have totally abandoned the indoor stuff? Like you wouldn't have, you would have still done it?
I would have probably still done it, but I wouldn't have focused as much time as I did
Okay.
on it. Like I spent a lot of time when I was younger, like in my when I was 14 or so, trying to see if I could move objects and wasting a lot of energy. That's what I noticed. It's you get very tired if you train a lot inside and
Mm.
you're not charging yourself up. But I would have spent more time connecting with nature and with the energy field outside, and mastering aerokinesis, because that's really my art.
Okay, cool, cool. So, what about you, Anthony? If you can go back in time, would you have trained differently and stuff like that? Kind of like Tanuj, would you have done a little more aerokinesis, or you would have stuck with a lot of indoor stuff? Well, obviously, you're more of an indoor guy compared to Tanuj. So,
I think he likes
Honestly,
aerokinesis.
I'm a 50-50 dude. I train as much indoors as I do outdoors.
oh, okay, okay, cool,
I'm
cool.
always training indoors because what I believe, it's just how you think. I believe the indoors is to critique yourself, these little skills, how to turn an object or how to push it or pull it or make it halfway fall and then stand it back up. So it's like this and it starts to fall and it stands. All these little skills, you have to build them inside because you can use them outdoors. Now, I've trained maybe 1,000 hours indoors with everything. Uh, I've I've made devices that are just strange, little chi spinner for feathers. I've chi spun feathers. I've pretty much figured out how to move tons of things, but I did it very differently. I realized outside the energy is alive and active. Inside, the energy is very dead and stale. You've breathed it in
Mhm.
100 million times, so there's no life left in the indoors. If you
Right.
open your window, you're going to end up signaling some energy to come inside. Doesn't mean it's the wind. It means that there's energy active that you're controlling. You can manipulate the particles, the matter, to do stuff with these objects, with cards. Pretty much, I really play with cards. I can set up 10 cards outside, and I can now pull specific ones without the wind. It can be a dead calm, but what I've done is learn to use my magnetics inside, and I can go outside and do the exact same thing on the ground. So
Mhm.
I can stand cans up, I can pull them over, I can roll cigarettes around outside. I mean, it's not the wind. People watch me do this, and I do it for them now.
Magnetism.
Yeah, I just use magnetism because I've learned to use it indoors, and now I can just do it outdoors. Um,
Okay, cool.
so I'm a more 50-50. Everything that I've done indoors, I eventually take outside and try to do it, and it turns out you can.
Cool, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Awesome.
So I just want to add, for the indoor stuff, one thing I will do, I think I mentioned to you this before, Ken, is like the only time I'll really use energy inside is when I want to clear stuff. So if my room or a place has really negative or low vibrational energy, then I will clear it with my own energy fields. Or if my technology is being really slow and it's like not loading, like a computer isn't loading a page, then I'll send energy to the computer and try to like and work with the code basically to make it move faster. So if I need to download something faster, that's really the only time I use energy inside, just because I don't see the point. But that's my opinion, not the truth. Just my opinion.
Oh,
Okay. I want to add in before I forget. This is something I discovered. I'm just going to say it to people. It doesn't matter. Whoever watches this video is going to get a big, big, big tip. When I met Trebor 7, me and him had a one-on-one talk for like actually we had like a 2.5-hour talk on Skype. He didn't want to go. He just wanted to talk with me. So we started talking a little deeper about energy. And he's like, if you really, really want to get good, he goes, what you do is you take a small fan and you put it 10 feet away from you and you put it on high. And you get far enough away from it so the energy is not blowing on anything, but the energy is moving. And then he said, get to know your objects, build empathy. He goes, once you start building a magnetic bond, these objects will start responding. Now you have moving particles. You're now moving air inside your house. So you can actually almost act like you're outside because energy outside is moving. And that's the whole purpose, is to learn to manipulate active energy. So I got to the point where I was turning the fan on high, putting it 10 feet away, learning how to move things, turning the fan on medium, learning how to move things, turning it on low, learning how to move things. So I got to the point where I didn't need all that extra energy. I critiqued myself by using the fan energy to learn to move everything. So you can help yourself by using ambient energy. It's a really good thing. It's not cheating because technically you're trying to get outside where energy is moving anyways. So it's really, he helped me figure out how to move things really well by using a lot of ambient energy. But it wasn't blowing on the cards and it wasn't moving the foil. It was just moving the atoms.
Cool. Awesome. Okay.
So
Tanuj,
that's a big tip.
Right. Awesome. Thanks, Anthony, for that. Tanuj, so since Trebor got brought up, obviously you were also Trebor's student as well. Have you gained anything, so by enrolling in his school, have you gained any tips, techniques, any wisdom, anything like that from him personally, or?
Well, I was definitely Trevor's friend for a while, like for probably 5 or 6 years, and we used to talk basically every weekend. But what we would do is we wouldn't really talk about telekinesis, to be honest. We would talk about a lot of different stuff, like conspiracy theories, like flat Earth, researching what's going on. So when I would talk to him, it wasn't really about the TK training. We would talk about some stuff like sun gazing and salt baths and energy. And it wasn't too much focus on the telekinesis because Robert basically let that stuff go. I don't think he trains anymore with that. And also I was not really focusing on the telekinesis either. But initially I did find his channel when I was really young, when I was probably 14 or so. And I applied the tips on telekinesis and they immediately worked for me. This was with a piece of string and some other objects, some foil and stuff. And so I was working with his tips with the empathy. And what I found for myself is that I don't use empathy when I do telekinesis. Anthony may be different. He may use empathy. But everybody has to have their own kind of strategy with telekinesis. And for myself, I found a more magnetic approach. Just pure energy manipulation or pure energetic harmony is the key for me, not really using too much feeling and emotion. Whereas Robert really stressed the feeling and emotion parts with his TK. Like he would really feel the emotion. And he's just a sensitive dude. He's a very sensitive, loving, caring guy. So for myself, it was different. I had to use more of an energetic approach. And I talked to him about that as well. And there was a few times when I was younger, when I was like 15 or 14, we were talking. It was just me and him. And he's like, dude, I can see it. You got plenty of energy. Your lights are flickering above you. And it was like all of my lights were flickering when I was trying to do the TK. So that's my approach. He definitely did help in the beginning, though.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for this, guys. So definitely check out thematrixandbill.com. As you guys already know, Tanuj is already a well-known guy, established guy in telekinesis.
One sec. I want to put in this for Tanuj and I.
Okay. Yeah.
We actually discovered Jedi chess. And we actually started training over the internet with each other back when I first began learning telekinesis. So he's a big part of why I can move things over the internet, because we used to sit there and
He's
hold
pretty
each
damn
other's cheese
good
spinning.
too.
We can hold it
Wow,
still
okay.
for each
Yeah.
other.
That's a great story, guys. So yeah,
We were battling for hours, man, and we're both drenched in sweat. Like I was
that's a
drenched in
great
sweat
story.
because I was
I wish you
focusing
guys
so
were
hard.
recorded that. Like that would have been awesome.
Yeah,
I think we did. It's on your channel, dude. It's on your channel, isn't it?
I might have a very short clip of you and I still moving each other's cheese spinners. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think
It's on my
there is.
computer.
I mean, I've seen most of Anthony's videos.
It's definitely on there because I remember he posted
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that.
I'll have to find it, man. But yeah, that's where I actually got good at it, because we used to do that like 2 or 3 times a week.
The first few times I was beating him really badly, and then he started getting better, and I was like, shit, this dude is like, he's practicing like 8 hours a day. I don't get time for that.
Yeah,
That's a
now I
great
can just
story.
look at it. I can just hold it still.
Yeah.
So,
It was ridiculous. Like, he would put energy, and I would hold it, and it would resist. You could see the chest being played. It was insane.
it wouldn't know where to go, but you could tell who had it. I could tell when he grabbed it, and then I could hold it, and we would just jump back and forth. So
Nice,
I just
nice.
wanted to
That's
tell
a great
people you
story.
can do this with a friend.
Yeah.
If you get good at cheese spinning, you can learn to move each other's objects over the internet.
That's a great.
I think we should do that again.
Which brings you to the Matrix.
Yeah, next time
But-
I want to record you guys the Tanuj versus Anthony. That'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to practice a bit.
Now, just moving objects over the internet says the Matrix is even more real than you can imagine.
Right.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
it's
that's-
even crazier when you work with the code over someone else's screen.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I say we do that next week or something, or this
Yeah.
time this week, sometime this week.
definitely. I would love to
Record it.
Record your
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm
it'd be
down.
hella funny.
That'd be really fun. Yeah. for
Yeah,
sure.
we'll play some Jedi chess next week.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can even
for
do
sure.
pinwheel chess
All
because
right. Yeah. So like I said,
pinwheel is
guys,
more crazy.
Check out Journal of a Jedi YouTube channel, and sorry, Anthony. Say it one more time. Your Facebook group. What's it called again?
The Jedi Way. Learn telekinesis through videos.
Okay.
Very,
Awesome.
very,
Check the Facebook.
very
Can't
simple.
you see the Yoda? No, can't you see the Yoda in the background?
Yeah, he's looking at me the whole time.
Okay. Okay.
Train, you
And
must.
definitely check out the Matrix Unveiled YouTube
.com.
channel as well as
I put him just right so he's at my shoulder. He's just there. See, he's
awesome.
on me.
Are you Chewbacca? Then you have to be Chewbacca.
I'm gonna get the whole Mandalorian poster series here.
Awesome. Right on, guys. Okay. Thank you so much.
Peace out.